Hey guys, welcome to another tutorial, and I apologize that it's been a while since the last one, but there's a reason for it. I had a couple of wisdom teeth removed, so I haven't actually been feeling up to talking much lately, but I'm back now and looking at the videos that are most viewed. It seems like the PlayStation series is the one that's doing the best. I also fixed the playlist so that it's now easier to find what you're looking for. So I basically grouped it into the system itself. So if you want to find Xbox 360 videos, you just find the Xbox 360 playlist and it's going to show you, all the related videos. But anyways, this is the PlayStation 3 Fat. It's one of the PlayStation 3s I haven't covered. Now, with all the models, with all the consoles, there are several different models available. So far I've basically just been covering, a single model for each type of console. So if there is a specific console that you want me to go through, just write a comment down below, and if I have that exact model available, I'll show how the insides of that is, because basically everything is different. So you have to look at what console you have. So even though this is a PlayStation 3 Fat, they made a bunch of different models. All of them are pretty much unique. So the same goes for all the other consoles. So then this video should give you a little indication as to what you should be doing, but it might not be relatable to the actual console that you own. With that being said, this is the model. You can find the model number right here. So this is the CECHG, which actually means that this does not have backwards compatibility to PlayStation 2. The way that they did it is let me show you a little easier here. You can see the number right there. It actually moves around. Sometimes you'll find it here, sometimes there. Just look for it. It's the CECH. That's the one you're looking for. And then the next letter determines when it was released. So A would be the first model, and this is the G model, and the backwards compatibility with PlayStation 2 actually stopped. I believe it was the model just before this, so the J model. So basically A, B, C, D, E, F, the F model. I guess I'm not all clear still after the pain relievers, but yeah, A through F. The G is G and upwards, not backwards compatible with PlayStation 2. However, the easiest way to figure that out is just by looking by the USB ports. All the PlayStation 2 backwards compatible models will have 4 USB ports. This only has 2. So that's the easiest way. Anyways, let's stop dawdling around and just get into this. One thing I should note is, since this is a lot bigger, you are going to need an actual bigger, water container. So that being said, let's tear into this. First thing we need to do is remove the lid. Actually, let me show you here the tools that we're going to need. It's a Phillips screwdriver. We're going to need our friend, the T8 bit, and also pliers, tweezers. And again, if I'm not making too much sense, that's because I'm still on pain medication. But let's go into this. So first thing you want to do is, before we do anything, just remove the hard disk. So we just flip this up and out, and that's just plastic, so we'll throw that in the water. And we'll have to take out that little screw right there, and that's the one that's securing the hard drive. So that's just a normal Phillips. Now with that out, we can take this and pull a little to the right, just to get that out, and then pull the whole hard disk drive out. And this is the 40 gigabyte hard disk, and you can actually see it's already a lot of dust in here. So we'll put that to the side. Now with that removed, and you'll see this little tab here, we're going to pull that out. Just like that. And then we use our little TA to take that screw down there out. It's a little tricky to get to it, but there we go. And drop it down there, that's perfect. So let's just get that out. There we go. Now that we have the screw out, we can just slide this towards the left hand side, just like that. And then we can just lift that straight up. And then we'll throw that in the water. Now, getting into the actual machine requires us to take out these screws here. There's a bunch of them. There's 7 in total. So you got one here, one there, one here. There's one on the other side here, and then 2 in the corner. And again, it's just standard Phillips. Now, you'll notice that this corner screw right here is actually different. So let me take out another screw here and I can show you the comparison. So these are the 2 types of screws that are holding this together. You can see one is short and the other one is long. All of these are going to be the long one except the corner one, but they've made it really easy. They actually wrote a little S there to show you that that's where the small screw goes. So let's just take out the rest here. And this is where having the tweezers come in really handy, because this screw right here is really sunk down. So in order to get that out easily, you do need the tweezers. Now, in order to lift this up, there's still a little latch right here. So we can just use the tweezers and just bend down on that little tab there. And then that will just pop out just like that. Now that we have that loose, we can just take the rest, and we want to just show you from the side, we just want to lift that up like so, and that is going to release all of these tabs right here from holding on to this. And this is really dusty, so yeah. Okay, well, let's put that to the side for now. We'll come back to this later on. In the meantime, let's focus on the actual innards. Jesus, this is dusty. Oh well. Start with the disk drive. So you want to disconnect that right here, and then that is pretty much done, except there's a little ribbon cable underneath it. You can see right there. So what you do with that is you just flip this holder right here, just flip that up, and then that'll come straight out. And we're going to put this to the side and come back to that later. Next up, we have this board right here, which is also connected to this board via this little cable right here. So just screw that out. Yeah. It's actually taped in place right there, so I think what I'll do here is I'll just use the tweezers just to pry the bottom bit open. So I can just slide that out and just remove this board here. Next we got the power supply here, so we'll disconnect that. And then also disconnect it from the back right there. And then that is screwed in place with 2 screws right there. And then 3 screws over here, so it's 2 on that side, 1 down here. Okay, with that being removed, we can now lift it up. There's going to be just like an outlet right here with 2 prongs sticking up, so you need to lift that gently so that you don't bend these two. And that's the power supply. So again, we'll just put that to the side for now. And then next we'll take this cable right here, which is the ground cable. And you can see that this screw is different from all the others, so that's easy enough to locate later on. Then we'll screw out the screws around the perimeter here. Also, let it be said that this screw in the corner is going to be a different screw. It's a lot longer than the others. And then you also have this screw right here, which is a different screw. So just to show, these are the standard screws. Then of course you've got the bigger one right there, which goes in the corner, and you have this little guy here. So that's a shorter screw, and he goes right there. That's easy to remember because that's where the hard disk goes. So you want the smallest screw here because otherwise it's going to pinch down on the hard disk, and that's not going to be good. So there we go. And then you also need to take these out. This is actually the piece that pushes the CPU and the GPU into the heatsink for better heat dissipation. So that kind of pushes those two together, creating a firm bond. So you do need to take these out. There you go. Now, I actually have a feeling that I know why this machine doesn't work. When I was tearing into it, I noticed something weird, but you know, you remember this board that goes right here? Well, it has a little ribbon cable slot right here, and that's actually for this little guy. So at some point someone has been into this and cut it open and then not attached the ribbon cable. So we'll continue down. In order to take this shielding out, you'll see right here you got a little tab, so you just push that a little bit to release this one. And that will then just lift right up, just locks into this here. So don't forget to push that back again so that you can open it next time. Same as with the top, you just want to lift this so that it pops out from the back here. It might need to be a little finicky, but there you go. You can see here that it's got these little connectors that'll actually go into these holes right here. That's why you just have to, you know, wiggle it out. So we'll throw that in the water as well. And then here you can see the ribbon cable, which should have been attached to the top. So this might be an easy fix. But let's continue down. The next step is just to lift this entire thing up. And personally, I always find it helpful just to, you know, put my fingers into the hard disk slot, because then I can use that as a leverage just to push it up and get my finger underneath. And then just lift the whole thing straight up like that. Jeez, it's not looking good. So we'll throw that in the water just to soak that up a little bit. And then next step is the actual backside here. This just pops straight out. Just like that. And then we have to remove the actual power switch here, which is easily done. You have a little tab right here. You just want to push that out, which will release this. And then you can slide that whole thing down and out. Just like that. And then of course this can just go in the water. Then we've got the actual motherboard here, so we'll flip that over, which gives us access to the fan. And this is again just Phillips screws. There you are. And then that just lifts straight up. Now you can do a really thorough clean on this and at the same time get access to all of those areas. And that is pretty much it. From this point I can get access to all the things that I need in order to do a proper cleaning. So let me put this aside for now. And I just wanted to show you a little bit on the inside of the lid here. You can actually remove a lot of these pieces. All you need to do is just pinch these little connectors off all over the scene here. But the problem is that these are really, I would say, really easy to break. So you don't need to take them off to do a good cleaning, but of course if the front piece here is broken and you have a replacement piece, then go for it. But unless you absolutely need to take them off, I just recommend leaving them on. Just saves you a lot of hassle down the road, because as I said, they break real easily. So I just wanted to show you, where you can find these little connectors, and then you just, push it out. Just be very, very careful if you decide to do that. But for now, we're just going to throw this in the water, let it soak for a little bit, and then start cleaning. And just like any other time, we're going to start by dusting this while the rest soaks in the water. Got my trusty DataVac duster here, which I highly recommend. Can't say this enough, but if you do this kind of work, having one of these is extremely helpful. It just saves you a lot of money in the long run over just those compressed air gas canisters. But anyways, just go over this for now, and then I'll go back over them with Q-tip, isopropyl alcohol, and just clean out the worst gunk that's stuck there. So now with that taken care of, I'll, as I said, I'll use some isopropyl alcohol and just a Q-tip to go over these areas. You can see where the dust has kind of settled over the years. So we want to get rid of all of that. Okay, so a lot of Q-tips later, this is looking a lot better. Next, on to the next bit. Okay, so that's finally done. We can now focus on everything over here that's been soaking for a while, so that's our next step to clean that up. Okay, so basically everything has now dried up properly, so we can start reassembly. First thing you want to do is just clear a little space here, and we'll actually start with this. So we need to first put in the fan. And it's very easy to figure out the correct alignment. You'll see right here there's a little divot which goes in here, and then of course you got the 3 screw holes for this. So there's typically only one way that you'll be able to put consoles back together again. So they made it really simple. And then just find the proper screws. And then of course attach the power cable. And then just wrap the cord around this little holder right here, which will keep that in place. Just like that. Okay, so I just shuffle things around a little bit, get a little bit more working space here. Next thing we want to do is to take the back plate here and attach the actual power source. So really simple, just slide that through the hole right here and align these wings with the grooves, just like that, and then just slide that in and it'll actually tap in place here. So that's as simple as that goes. And we'll attach that to the back of this right here. Just align everything up with the proper connections and then just push it straight in, and that's gonna basically lock itself in place just there. And then we'll take the bottom piece here and align that so that the hard disk drive pops out on that side over there. So just align that, and let me actually do it this way, because you can actually also see here that it does have a little groove here, and that's going to go on the inside of this and the same on the other side here. So just slide that in, and you'll know when you get it right, it'll actually like slide in perfectly. There we go. Just like that. So once we have this properly placed into the bottom case, we can then take the RF shield, and remember these pivot points from before, so we're going to pivot those in here, just like that. And then remember to take this ribbon cable up, which hadn't been done by whoever opened this the first time. So, and then just clasp down here, it'll snap into place. So just like that. And then we'll screw those screws in. We'll actually start with this right here. It's the easiest one, just to align that properly. And then as for the outside perimeter screws, you'll remember that there are 3 unique ones. There's the long one, which goes in this corner by the power switch. So we can start with that one. Then you've got the actual ground cable, which is the green cable. And that goes to this little outlet here. You can actually see a ground symbol on the shield itself. So just screw that in place. And then you have the small screw, which goes over here by the hard disk drive socket. So we'll screw that in as well. And then all the others are the same kind of screws, and you also see little arrows indicating everywhere that you need to screw these in. And next we can do the power box here, the power supply, which again we'll just slide these on top of here and just align all the pins and screw holes. There we go. And then we'll screw that in place. So again, there's going to be 3 screws on the front here. And then there are 2 screws in the back right here. So right there. Once we've screwed those in place, we can then attach the power cable here. So we'll just slide that in. And then take the cord here and put it underneath this little divider, which will keep that safe from being pinched. Just like that. And then also connect this one right here. Just like that. Next up, I think we'll do this. And just align that properly so you have a little divot here which this will connect into. So we can just slide that in here and then just pop that down. And there's a little holder right there that it'll connect to, so you know that you're aligned properly. And then you got 2 screws holding that in place. And then we'll also attach this ribbon cable that wasn't attached previously. Just flip this up, slide this in, just like it can be a little finicky sometimes, but there we go. And then just pop that down on top of it, which will then lock that in place. There we go. It actually didn't fit quite. Let me see if I can do that a little better. There we go. And then we got this little guy here, which we'll just slide underneath here. And then slide this up there. And then fasten that with a screw as well. Actually, let me pull this down a little bit. So all I did was just put this on top of its little stand right there. And has a screw point at the top here. There we go. And then we'll take our tweezers, just lift the tape here, slide that underneath, and just lock that in place as well, so that the cord is now being kept out of the way for the disk drive, which is the next thing that we're going to attach. And just like with this ribbon cable here, the first thing we do is flip open this so that this ribbon cable will slide in easy. It's a little hard to show, but Just slide it in until it doesn't go any further and lock the arm down. And that locks that cable in place. And then this just gets situated on top. And you'll feel when it's properly aligned. And then take this cable, attach it to the front right there. And that is it for the disk drive. Next up we have the cover itself. So we'll start by sliding it in this way so that these little legs right here can actually attach to the front. So we'll just line that up, just like that, and then flip that over. It's going to lock at the front, and then you've got the little locking mechanism right here. Just slide that in. And then screw that in place. And this time we're going to use the really long screws. And if you remember, there's one small screw, and as I showed you earlier, that goes right here where it does say an S for small. So it's very easy, it's kind of impossible to mess that up. Now that we have all the screws in place, we can take the lid and align that so that it slides in, and then just slide the whole thing to lock it in place. And finish off with a final screw here at the end right there. And this is also a little tricky to get properly in place, so I tend to use tweezers for this one, just to kind of align it in, but it doesn't go all the way, so I just have to do my best to kind of, let me show you here, just hold that in place while I take my screwdriver and push it, and hopefully you'll have it aligned with the hole, which I don't, since I was doing that at an angle. This screw is really finicky. There you go, finally. And then just screw that in place, but don't over tighten it, because the little plastic, I guess we can call it a foot, which holds the lid in place, is really easy to break. And if you break that piece off, then the whole lid is basically loose. So we finish by plugging the hole with a little plastic here. Just a little plastic cover, just like that. And then we'll put in the hard disk drive. So again, we just slide that in from the side, just like that, and then slide it into the actual socket, just like that. And then that gets screwed in place with the blue screw. And that locks the hard disk in place. And of course, put the cover on. And then just go over this with some orange pledge. And I use this all the time, but it's an amazing product for console repairs. It just gives it a really nice finish, and it also helps protect it a little bit from future dust. It's not gonna protect it for years to come, but you know, just go over it once in a while with the more orange pledge. Just do some general dusting on the outside, and then occasionally you'll have to do a full clean, top to bottom, inside out. But for the most part, if you just, you know, keep at the cleaning, make a habit of doing it with the consoles that you use the most. You'll actually be surprised of how long you can keep them working. And there you have it. That's pretty much good as new. Again, if you want to see specific models, just let me know in the comments down below, and I'll do my best to get a hold of that kind of model and show you the insides of those. Also, if you like these videos, please like and comment, and most importantly, subscribe. It really helps out the little fish on YouTube like myself. And if you want to really help me out, I do sell these consoles from my own website. So I'll put a link in the video and in the show notes down below. And again, I hope this was helpful. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.